The person you could have been isn't a person who succeeded at everything. They are the person who engaged with everything. They are the version of you who realized that failure is just a data point, but avoidance is a death sentence for the soul. They say that when the light finally begins to dim, when the noise of the world retreats into a dull hum, you don't actually die alone. You're met by someone. But it's not a relative, and it's not a deity. It's a stranger with a face you almost recognize. They are standing there, bathed in the glow of every opportunity you ever ignored. They have the eyes you would have had if you'd slept better, the hands you'd have if you'd worked harder, and the smile you'd have if you'd actually been happy. This is the ghost of the person you could have been. And for the next few minutes, they're going to sit with you. They aren't there to judge you. That's the most painful part. They are there to show you the life that was sitting right next to yours the entire time, separated only by a thin, transparent veil called fear. This is a ghost that must be tackled and overcome, because if you're watching this, you're still breathing, which means the ghost hasn't claimed your seat yet. You still have time to make sure that when you finally meet, you aren't strangers. We all have a parallel self. From the moment you were old enough to realize that no was an option, your life split. Every time you stayed in a job that suffocated you because it was safe, a version of you walked out the door and started that business. Every time you swallowed a heartfelt confession because you were afraid of rejection, a version of you spoke up and found love. We like to think of these as what-ifs. We treat them like harmless daydreaming. But they aren't harmless. They are cumulative. The ghost of who you could have been is built out of the bricks of your hesitations. It is fueled by the books you didn't write. It is dressed in the clothes you were too old or too shy to wear. It speaks the languages you didn't learn because you were too busy. We often imagine that the person we could have been is created by one or two massive cinematic failures. We think it's the business we didn't start or the marriage we didn't save. But that's a lie we tell ourselves to feel better. In reality, the ghost is built out of 10,000 tiny, microscopic no's. It's the no you said to the gym this morning because the bed was warm. It's the no you said to the difficult conversation because you didn't want to ruin dinner. Every time you choose a comfortable lie over an uncomfortable truth, you are handing a brick to your ghost. You are building their house while yours falls into disrepair. Think about the energy it takes to suppress a dream. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It's exhausting, it's constant, and eventually your arms get tired. The ghost isn't tired though. The ghost is vibrant because they are the one who said yes when your voice shook. They are the one who took that energy you spent on suppression and spent it on expression. When you look at them, you aren't just seeing a better version of yourself. You are seeing the physical manifestation of all the energy you wasted on being afraid. Think about that person for a second. Truly, close your eyes. Who is the version of you that didn't let fear make their decisions? That version of you isn't a superhero. They aren't perfect, but they are courageous. They didn't have less fear than you. They just had a different relationship with it. While you used fear as a stop sign, they used it as a compass. The tragedy of the human condition is that we are biologically wired to prioritize survival over fulfillment. Our brains are ancient machines designed to keep us from being eaten by tigers. But in the modern world, the tiger is a mean comment on social media. The tiger is a momentary embarrassment at a networking event. The tiger is the possibility of failing at a hobby. So, we play it safe. We choose the path of least resistance. But here is the truth that the ghost wants to tell you. Safety is an illusion. You think you are avoiding pain by not taking risks. But you aren't avoiding pain. You are just deferring it. You are trading the sharp, stinging pain of failure, which heals, for the dull, heavy, terminal ache of regret, which doesn't. Regret is a slow-acting poison. It doesn't kill you today. It just waits for the quiet moments. It waits until you're lying in bed at 2 a.m. and it whispers, "You could have known what it felt like. Now you'll never know." It is a truly terrifying thing, is to accept yourself completely. But perhaps even more terrifying is to realize you accepted a fraction of yourself because you were too scared to see what the whole version looked like. Imagine the scene. You are at the end. The room is quiet. The ghost pulls up a chair. The ghost asks, "Why didn't you go?" You answer, "I was afraid I'd fail." The ghost smiles, not a mean smile, but a sad one. "I failed. I failed a dozen times. I went bankrupt twice. I got my heart broken 3 times. But look at my hands. They're calloused, but they're full. I lived 1,000 lives in the time you spent protecting one." That is the core difference. The person you could have been isn't a person who succeeded at everything. They are the person who engaged with everything. They are the version of you who realized that failure is just a data point, but avoidance is a death sentence for the soul. When you compare your current self to this ghost, don't look at the bank account or the accolades. Look at the vitality. Look at the lack of should-haves. The ghost doesn't have any weight on their shoulders because they threw everything they had at the world. They left nothing on the table. You, however, are carrying a heavy suitcase full of maybe tomorrows. Look at this. This is what is happening inside you right now. You are a biological miracle. Your heart is a pump that doesn't stop for 80 years. Your nervous system is more complex than the most advanced supercomputer. You are literally made of stardust and ancient history. And yet, we use this incredible machinery to sit in a cubicle we hate, to stay silent when we see injustice, to apologize for taking up space. The ghost of the person you could have been is a reminder of your potential energy. Think of a ball sitting at the top of a hill. It has the potential to crash through obstacles, to gain momentum, to change the landscape below. But if it stays at the top, it's just a rock. Your fear is the friction that keeps you at the top of the hill. The good news? You don't have to live in the shadow of this ghost forever. You can kill the ghost by merging with him. You do this through a process called radical audacity. It sounds complicated, but it's actually very simple. It's the decision to be the person who does the thing. Audit your fears. Write down the 3 things you are most afraid of doing right now. Not the fear of spiders stuff. The fear of starting that project stuff. Acknowledge the ghost. Look at those fears and realize that on the other side of them is the version of you that you actually want to be. The 5-second rule. When the impulse to act hits you and the fear rises up to meet it, you have 5 seconds to move before your brain kills the idea. The ghost of who you could have been is only a ghost because you haven't given him a body yet. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you give him a piece of your skin. You give him your voice. You give him your life. Eventually, if you do this enough, you'll look in the mirror and you won't see a what-if anymore. You'll just see you. This isn't just a metaphor for self-improvement. It is a literal reclamation of your own identity. Think of your life as a vessel that is currently divided. Half of the fuel is in your tank, and the other half is being hoarded by the version of you that didn't hesitate. Every time you stay in your comfort zone, you are essentially paying a tax to your own potential. You are funding the ghost's existence while you starve. But the moment you lean into the friction, the moment you choose the path that makes your heart hammer against your ribs, a transfer occurs. When you speak up in that meeting where you'd normally stay silent, you aren't just making a point. You are reaching into the ether and snatching the vocal cords back from the person you could have been. You are telling the universe that this voice no longer belongs to a what if, it belongs to a right now. You are giving that ghost's voice a throat to vibrate in and a pair of lungs to power it. You are pulling his ethereal, haunting presence out of the shadows and weaving him into your own muscle and bone. This process is painful because it requires the shedding of your current, protective shell. Courage is the act of tearing off the skin of the person who is afraid, so that the skin of the person who is capable can finally breathe the air. It's a graft. You are taking the vibrant, glowing vitality of that ideal self and stitching it onto your own frame. Every brave act is a needle and thread. With every risk, the ghost becomes less of a haunting reminder and more of a biological reality. You are slowly, deliberately murdering the phantom by stealing everything that makes him superior and making it your own. You are consuming your own potential until there is nothing left for the ghost to stand on. You are becoming the evidence of your own bravery, transforming from a person haunted by a shadow into a person who casts one. We started off this talk imagining what it would be like at the end of your life. Let's go back there for a moment. The heart monitor is slow. The light is fading. The ghost is sitting there. But this time, the story is different. You look at the ghost and you realize he looks thin, transparent, weak. He's fading away. Why? Because you didn't leave him much to work with. You took his dreams and you lived them. You took his risks and you breathed through them. You took his words and you spoke them. You didn't leave a parallel self behind because you used up all the potential you were given. You didn't die with a ghost in the room. You died as a whole person. There is no greater tragedy than meeting the person you could have been and realizing you have nothing in common. And there is no greater triumph than meeting that person and realizing you're looking into a mirror. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time is a myth created by fear to keep you stagnant. Go be the person you're afraid to be. The ghost is watching, and he's rooting for you to take his job.